So the customer says, unit is great, but I'll probably have to send it back because it's driving the neighbors crazy. So we see if we can figure out what that rattling is and get that straightened out and go from there. We've got the condenser fan pulled, and if you see right up there, you can see that mark where the tube has been rubbing. We ought to be able to stretch that tube out a little bit and get it straightened and eliminate the rattle. Alright, we got no more rattle. Everything else is kosher in the noise department. Well, it is back to service and maintenance for a while. I have one other heat pump package unit install I've got some footage of that I'm hoping I can put together. Back to service and maintenance. On this one, the customer was due for just a regular maintenance, and he mentioned that a rattling noise was driving his neighbors crazy.
That thing pick up a signal from it?
No, I'm just recording the progression here.
Oh, okay.
So the heat strips on these air handlers have got dip switches to tell it what heat strip it's running, and apparently this one is on park. So we're going to power it down so that we can reset the dip switch and just see how that changes the operation. You saw how the amp draw on the heat strips looked a minute ago. So we got 20 amps so far. It should stage them in and hit 40 amps here after a little while. There we are. She staged up to 40. I'm going on assumption here, but I would imagine that previously it dropped all of the heat strips in at one time rather than staging them. We do have a separate issue with this condensate pump. We have had trouble with these pumps. The floatless sensor will read that it's tripped when it's not. This one may be just a matter of garbage in the bottom of the pump, so I'll pull it out and clean out the reservoir and put it back in a little bit better level. If we look at this one, you'll notice that it's not level at all. just in case you can't see that with the glare on the camera, we'll screenshot it. It's well beyond level, so we'll dig that out and reset it. As you can see, this sensor here has got scum on it, and so it is sensing water, and the bottom of this pan has obviously got some nasty collection on it, so we'll get that sprayed out with the water hose. So we've got it leveled, or at least cleaned out. Now we're going to see if we can get it leveled up. I'd say that's probably about as good as we're going to get it. I'll go ahead and plug it back in. And it's not running constantly anymore. We'll get some water in it and test it. So, on this particular series of Hyperion air handler, the float switch does not go into the low voltage wiring. If it goes into the low voltage wiring, it will throw a code that doesn't make any sense, and you'll be chasing your tail trying to figure out what's going on. So they provide you with these two terminals labeled EXTSW, and as you might be able to decipher, those terminals are for an external switch. What is an external switch? Well, there's plenty of things that an external switch could be, but in residential HVAC, an external switch is typically your water level cutoff device or float switch. And if you wire your two float switch wires to this set of terminals, it will tell you on the user interface or thermostat that you have a fault on that switch, and you can set up the thermostat to recognize different items on the switch connections. So in this particular instance, we are going to set that up for disabling cooling if that switch is engaged, or broken I should say. It is normally closed and open on water level rise. Looks like there's my furnace over there. Let's see if we can find a way to get there. course I don't have my 5/16 nut driver. I have to go grab it. .4 inches on the pressure switch. There's the igniter. .3 inches on the gas pressure. We are running LP. We got 4 milliamps on the flame sensor. This is actually the longest that the furnace has run, as far as what the customer said. I was pretty sure that it was going to be the flame sensor not sensing flame well enough, but we may have something else. Well, that's a little disturbing, but I doubt that that is our main cause. The V-vent is not properly connected to the exhaust vent on the inducer motor. I'm going to go ahead and grab the combustion analyzer while this runs, see if we can see what the system is doing. I'll be right back. Well, this sucks. I just unplugged my flame sensor meter and it fired up and died. And then on the second try, after I started the camera, it stayed running. I think we just figured it out. The burner in line with the flame sensor is not getting any flame. I was starting to wonder why I would have had trouble and then all of a sudden been fine, but that's what it looks like. So we will go ahead and give it a heating maintenance, get everything straightened out. If you look right there, the corner of the burner tube where it goes into the passover slot is full of rust. So it's going to impede how well the gas carries over between the two burners. I'll go ahead and get those cleaned up. Alright, so on this system that we're leaving, it is a propane gas furnace, and I guess I've got a question in regards to combustion analysis on propane system. My original CO2 was 3.13%. My original oxygen was 16.2. The gas pressure started out at 9.3.
Continue 1.1
and
miles, then turn left on Flinting Road.
I went through a little bit of trouble to get the gas pressure up to 9.9, at which point my CO2 was 3.8 and my oxygen was 15.2. So I got my oxygen 1% lower and my O2 0.7% higher. My question being, what am I looking for on a propane, and why might I not be able to get the oxygen down any lower and my O2 any higher? Would the B-vent issues that I saw be affecting that? And what do you guys say might be the reason I couldn't get any higher adjustments? Appreciate your comments on that one, and we are on to the next. Amps on the 10 kW. $23.2 on the 5 kW. So we have function on the heat strips, and the customer had mentioned that the smell had dissipated already. When the system had run again after the initial stench. anything awry with the heat strip. And I can't imagine that the heat pump running would have any play in a smell of burning. But we will run it and see what we get.
Well, I don't blame them for being concerned that there might be a problem, especially when they have a burning smell. But it's gone. It was gone before we got out here, and I'm not getting anything that would cause an odor anymore. So another diagnostic for nothing. But better safe than sorry. I suppose it's money well spent. Alright, so we've got a train package unit. No heat. Condenser is running with no ignition. It is a 2002 YCC 2.5 ton. So we're gonna go ahead and crack it open and see what we got. We've got almost 0.9 inches of water column on the inducer. My assumption would be that the pressure switch is not actually closing, otherwise the inducer would not continue to run. But we'll get set up for when we do get the inducer to close, and or the pressure switch to close. See what we got. Got no voltage across the pin, which means that it should be closed. And if we check each leg to ground, we got nothing there, nothing there. Interesting. Normally 0 across the pins would mean that the pressure switch was closed, but we actually have no voltage at all. So we are losing our voltage somewhere previous to the pressure switch. Okay, so the rollout, not the rollout, the heat exchanger limit has got 27 coming in and nothing leaving. So it would appear that our heat exchanger limit has failed. If we go ahead and jump that, we should then see voltage at the rollout and voltage at the pressure switch. So our heat exchanger limit is dropping the voltage. It lit for a second and then dropped out again. Didn't happen to notice what the gas pressure was. I would imagine that our flame sensor is dirty, or the burners are dirty, like the one we looked at earlier, where the flame is not crossing. We'll let it try one more time and see if we can pay attention to the gas pressure. 3.5, 3.6, 3.5, 3.6, down to 3.3. I'm sufficiently satisfied that that is where our issue lies, but I never leave a YCY or YCC package unit without popping the top and checking the heat exchanger. They are notorious for having cracks, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Good Lord. Coil needs cleaned. And you probably aren't going to be able to see what I'm seeing completely, but that thing is in deplorable condition. The drain pan is slimy, hasn't drained properly in a long time. The heat exchanger is just terrible. Can you hear that? That sucker's getting ready to lose an inducer. I'm probably going to throw junk out of it here in a minute. That's crazy. Well, yep, there we are. We are definitely in bad enough shape that this one's getting a red tag. We'll see if we can get a perspective on this. have it. A day in the life of a service technician. I got video on all but one of the calls I ran today, and I kind of wished I had got video on the one I didn't. Would have been kind of interesting, I thought, but I appreciate you watching. Leave your comments down below, like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next video. Bye-bye.